Alright, so I'm going to walk you through kind of the gradebook setup and looking at how you would create your assignment categories and then enter grades simply as you would have in School Loop. So when you open up your course, you will have whatever your homepage is, we'll start there. And you look at your assignments and you'll see that you don't have any assignments there. You should have something, a grade category that is called assignments and it has 100% of your total. So basically it would be an unweighted grade. So the first thing you want to do is add the groups, the grading categories that you use for your course. So I would probably have something that would be a coursework, which maybe I need to edit that, which would be maybe 30% of my course grade, whatever is specified in my syllabus. I would add another one, which would be assessments, which would be maybe 50%. And then I would have a final exam. And that would be the remaining 20%. And I can leave assignments here, or I can get rid of it. Right now I have over 100% of my, over 100%, which obviously isn't going to work for calculating a grade. So I hit get rid of that, and now I have my grade categories set up. If I look at grades, in this course, it's not a live course, so I just have 3 kind of test student accounts here that I have to play with. You can see it has those categories, and it tells you at the top what their weight is, and then it will have the total over here. So in order to grade something, I need some assignments. So what I'm going to do is add some assignments. I'm going to do it 2 different ways. I'm going to go to assignments in those categories where we just were, and I'm going to click on plus. And I'm going to make an assignment. I'm going to call it maybe introductory survey, and this is going to be due tomorrow, and it's going to be 5 points. And I have 2 options here. I can hit save, or I can hit save and publish. If I hit save, you can see it has this little circle with the line through it. It means that students won't be able to see it. And so if you want it to be visible, then you have to either click save and publish or just hit publish. And you can go back and forth with that. So you can publish and unpublish as much as you want. So I'm going to have an introductory survey, and that's going to be 5 points. And then I need to create another assignment here. So I'm going to do the same thing down here with an assessment. So I'm going to go to assessments. I'm going to call this quiz number 1, and this will be due at the end of the week. And I'm going to say that it is 10 points. And I'm going to hit save and publish this time. So that's one way that I can get assignments in there, is just going to the assignments component and then adding directly in there. This will just be a list of assignments, kind of similar to what you saw in School Loop. The other way you can do it is through the module. So you can go to a module. You can see here that I don't actually have the module. The assignments don't drop in anywhere. I have to kind of place them where they make sense in terms of my structure. So I have a unit. You could have a chapter, whatever it would be for your module. And then what I want to do is I want to add some assignments. So I'm going to add that introductory survey, and then I'm going to add that quiz, and then I can change the order. I can drag them around. Let's say that I'm going to have another assignment. So I can do it directly here from the module. I can add a new assignment, and I can make it, I have different options here, but I'm just going to make it an assignment. And I'm going to call this homework number 1, and I'm going to add that item. All right, now you can see it's not published, and I didn't specify any point values. So I'm going to publish it and then kind of go from there. So I have these values, and maybe I want the homework to go before the quiz, so I can just drag it there. Again, in the module, it's not changing what the assignments are, it's just changing the presentation and the order, kind of like the learning structure that students would see. So now when I look at my gradebook, click on grades, I can see that those are there, and the one that I made through the module is out of 0 points. So when I just created basically a placeholder for it, it didn't ask me for any points. There's a couple of ways that I could change it. The easiest way is probably just to click on homework 1, and you can see that I have the option to edit it. So I click on edit, and I'm going to make it out of 5 points. And then I could change the category if I wanted to. There's lots of different things that we can look at here. I'll make another video in a little bit that talks about the different types of submissions and how you can be a little bit more robust. But this is just getting grades into the gradebook. All right, so now when I look at my grades, what I will see are those 3 assignments. If I want to actually enter grades, so if it's something that I'm checking that I have on paper, that would be kind of more of a traditional paper-based classroom, all I need to do is click on it and then I enter the points. So maybe that was a 5 and a 4 and then another 5. So that's really a simple way to enter grades. For the quiz, I can enter them as well. This, again, if it's not a quiz that I've set up in Canvas that automatically attaches grades to it, I would have to put them in by hand. I could make this one maybe as an 8, and then let's say this student didn't do very well. This is a 4. And so I have the middle student, Hugh, didn't take the quiz. So I can see here when I click next to any of these grades, it has this little arrow next to it that I can click on if I want to. When I click on that, it gives me some options. I can set the grade that way. I can put a comment, something like, you need to make up your quiz, and hit submit. You can see that that's dropped that in there. But what's really helpful is this category of missing, late, or excused. So this is a missing assignment, and you can see what it will do is it will highlight it in that kind of red component. And it dropped it in as a 0. There's different ways that we can set that up. So if you want to set that up however it makes sense for your course, you click on the little gear icon. And the way I had it set up is anything that's missing is a 0. So if you uncheck that box and I hit update, you can see that it's stayed there. But if I get rid of it, it's still missing, but it hasn't put the 0 in there because I haven't set it that way. So if I go back and I want a 0%, or let's say I want a 50% for a missing assignment, I hit update and it will automatically update those points. So I don't have to go back and re-enter points. It will automatically adjust those points because it has that missing label attached to it. I can remove that label down the road if I want to by either saying that it's late or there's no label, and that's an easy way to adjust those. All right. The other option that we have, let's say that we have our homework, and I have a student here that it was a 5, but it was late. So this was full credit. It was out of 5 points, but it was turned in late. What I can do again is I can specify what my late penalty is. So I could take a 10%. I can do, it has to be a percentage, but I could basically drop it 10% every day it's late. I could drop it every hour. I can adjust this however I want. I can also set a lowest possible grade, so let's say 50%. So I have it set at 10% every day that it was late, and then the lowest grade would be at 50%, and then I hit update. So when I tag this student now with being late, it was late, and let's say it was 2 days late, what you'll see is that it automatically adjusts and brought that down 20%, so 10% for each day that it was late. Maybe this student was excused, so it won't count, and then this student here, it would just be a normal entry, maybe they got a 5 out of 5. And so when I enter 5. So that's just kind of grade entry, the different ways that you can look through it. You have other options here too. One thing that you might want to do is if you have, let's say that we have a quiz, we have an assignment or whatever it is, and I want specific students to go back and look at their work and do quiz corrections or whatever it is. If I click on the little 3-dot icon, and I can message students that either has scored less than something, scored more than something, or haven't been graded yet. So you can see that Hugh here pops up as hasn't been graded, and then it puts in a default subject that I can change if I want to, and I can send him a message. I can hit cancel on that. But that would an easy way to message groups of students for various reasons in terms of assignment completion. The other thing that you can do here, so in School Loop, one of the best features was the autofill feature. So you had an assignment maybe that everybody is getting full credit on, or you have a lot of entries that you want to put in. So what you can do is you can set a default grade. So let's say everybody's going to get 5 out of this. So I'm going to say they get a 5, and I set that as the default grade. And then what it's going to do is drop in 5s for all of those. So that's grade entry. If you want to see how a student is doing, you just click on their name, and it will pop up over here what their letter grade is. If they're missing, if they're late, you can click on more information, which will give you kind of that list of things that were in terms of how their grade was completed. Lots and lots of information. If you've set up if you're looking at the kind of the outcomes based and looking at learning mastery, you can click on that, and you'll be able to see kind of how they are in the learning mastery outcomes that you've set for your course. All right, so that's it. Hopefully it's not too hard. Again, look for the second video where you're looking at how do you grade where you have online submissions using the speed grader functionality.